Welcome to Roll and Relax. Today we will focus on the neck and the head, especially the jaw and the temples. And we're going through this coronavirus crisis right now. However, even if we don't have a crisis, we tend to store fear and anxiety in our stomach area. So a lot of times it's like the solar plexus area that's really tight and the lower abdomen can be tight. So I want to start every class with just a teeny bit of massaging the belly, just so we get into that parasympathetic nervous system state, which is also known as rest and relax. Because, you know, not just now, a lot of us have a lot of stress and it's so easy to get tight here. And I'm talking about myself too. I definitely tend to get tight up here. So get your cortis ball. And if you like, I recommend, they come in two colors, by the way. Maybe use one that's not fully blown up, and I'll just check in. So we will start on the belly. Before we get to neck and the head, we start on the belly and you place it anywhere in your abdomen. And excuse me, just roll a little bit around side to side, maybe toward the lower belly, toward the upper belly, and just kind of check in. You can close your eyes, and yes, it makes some funky sounds. And just notice where you see or where you feel the most tension. Make sure to breathe deeply in and out and really focus on breathing into the belly. So if that's a new concept for you, you might initially not really get it, but when you breathe into the belly, and actually let's all pause, find a spot that's tight. For me, it's a little bit the upper belly. And so when you take a deep breath into the belly, you should feel your whole body lift off. And then exhale. So when you breathe only into the chest, which I'm doing now, then the belly, like the body isn't really moving away from the ball. So that's maybe a way for you to check if you're doing it right. When I first it was really difficult for me. And when we take a really, really deep, full breath in, when we exercise, we will always breathe both into the chest and the belly. But I want you to isolate the belly breath now. And if you can, if it's okay, you can actually do this. So if that's not too much pressure, I'm going to be a little bit higher because otherwise my voice is all muffled. So take a deep breath into the belly. And then hold your breath and contract your abs. Contract, 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 and then exhale. Let's repeat that 4 more times. Deep breath into the belly. Contract, hold the breath for 3 to 5 seconds. And release. And release. Inhale. And last one, deep inhale into the belly. Contract and hold. All right. I hope that felt good for you. And maybe that was really almost aggravating. So you want to make sure that when you know that this is really tight area for you, maybe you let some air out of your cortis ball for tomorrow, or when you do this by yourself. So I always have several balls, and I have one that's more blown up and one that's less blown up. So now I want to work on the front of the neck, because the front of the neck, obviously this is a very sensitive area, so we can't just go in there and press and massage. But what these balls are really amazing for, and for this one, I kind of like the ball a little more blown up, but if yours is less deep inflated, then don't worry about it, it's totally fine. So come to a comfortable seat. For me, this is a really comfortable position, but you can also, sit this way. You can sit on a chair if that feels better for you. If you have a lot of hip opening, you can sit cross-legged. For me, that's always like I always, unless I'm sitting on a bolster, it's always, my knees are very high. So this is not comfortable for me. So whatever is really comfortable for you, that's the position. So don't necessarily do what I'm doing. It's just, this way I'm in the frame and it's comfortable. So you take your ball, and I'm using this one, and I'm going to get a little closer. So what you want to do, you basically take this ball and then you rotate it and you really press it against your neck. So as if you're like shaving, you're trying to smudge something off, and you can turn your head the other way when you're at the end. So you go all the way to the side of the neck, and then just breathe deeply as you do this. There's no like inhale, exhale when you do a specific movement, just kind of. So let me see if I can get a little closer and be bigger. So you really want to, that's why this is so nice about these balls. They're really grippy, so they grab your skin. And you're massaging, you're turning the ball as you're turning your head. And then you can go all the way to the end, to the side, kind of all the way to the sternocleidomastoid, this thick muscle here. So keep going back and forth, kind of massaging. Spinning that ball, so you're rotating the ball as you kind of shave. I don't know, I don't have a better word, but kind of go along that sensitive area in the front of the neck. And then let's go one more time back and forth. And it's okay to sigh it out, to breathe. And just remember, everything is okay. You're safe right now, and you're okay. So the throat is where we communicate, right? So if there's a lot of tension and blockages, we can't really communicate with people. So this is a really important area. How do you feel afterwards? I always feel like, oh, I have all this space here. So for the next one, you can do the next one is we're going to use the small balls, and we're going to use the neck, work on the neck and not use the neck. And you can do this seated like so. I'm going to show that first, and then I'm going to show a version on the floor on the block. So if you don't have a block, then maybe just stick to the other one. And let me see, I can probably like turn this up a little bit so that I can come a little closer for this. So what you want to do, hold on. So you place the ball and you start right here, right behind the ear. And actually, before we do this, maybe check in and just check your neck rotation. So turn your head all the way to one side, and it's already better from the first thing that we did. And then turn your head the other way. And just notice where there's a little bit of restriction or tension. For me, it's when I go to the right, there's a little bit restriction here. So we will start right here, and then we will work our way down the neck. So on this thick, again, this is the sternocleidomastoid muscle. And we will work our way down toward where the neck and the shoulder meet. So it's actually good when you use the other arm so you can completely relax. So when I do the right side, it's nice to do it with the left. And the way you do it, you press the ball and then you spin it. So you wind it up. So you're really grabbing your skin and you twist it around, if that makes sense. And then you don't move the ball around. You just push it against and then spin it. And then you can just breathe, relax that shoulder on that side. And if you want, you can continue to spin, maybe wind it up a little bit more. And then if you want, you can add just a teeny tiny, maybe an inch, like a, yes nod, or maybe a little bit of a no, but you really minor. And you might feel, this is really painful for me already here. And actually, let's all do this version, and then we do the block. And then release that and, move your ball maybe 2 centimeters or 1 inch, like closer, further down. So you're doing the same thing. You press against and then you wind it up as if you're trying to screw the ball into the tissues. That's basically what you're doing. Breathe. So really let that right shoulder completely relax. Maybe add a little bit of no movement. You can always rewind if the ball loses kind of its grip. You can always screw it in again, so to speak. And then again, move a little bit lower. We're almost at the neck now. And again, and you might find for me, this is not as tight as the earlier spot. So just notice, breathe, maybe add a little bit of motion. And then at the very end, it's kind of really where the neck and when the neck and the shoulder meet. So you wind it up again. And then let go. And then just notice how the neck feels that side compared to the other. I feel a lot more, this feels like really relaxed now. There's still a little bit of tightness, but that's coming more from the lower part of the shoulder. We will, if we have time, we do that today as well. And then start the other side. So again, you're starting like, it doesn't really matter. You just, it's behind the ear. So don't be too concerned about finding that exact spot. And then if you use the same side, you might have a little bit more grip, but I also like really relaxing that shoulder. So if your mobility is limited, you can't really reach around, then you use the same side. But this is better because you can completely really relax that shoulder. So screw the ball in, maybe wind it up a little bit more. Turn the head as far as you can to the right. Maybe add a little bit of a yes motion or a little bit of a no. Just a very, very small one. And then release, go a little lower, wind it up again. And you might notice when you go a little bit further behind or a little bit more in front. So, you know, anywhere in this kind of area. And then one lower. So, oh yeah, this is tight for me. So this wasn't even painful when I rotated my neck, but I feel some tightness here. So really wind it up, really get that ball in there and screw it in. So not to the point where you're screaming in pain, but where you feel something. And then at the very bottom of the neck, one more time. All right. How does that feel? So this is one of my favorite ones. This one you can do at your desk anytime, right? You can, you know, when you're working, if you're working like me on the computer, you can always grab those balls and do this, you know, even just like a little quickie like this, just kind of grab it. Okay, and so for the version on the floor, let me show that to you. You need a thick block or a yoga block or thick book. So, and it's basically, you place it right where you did it before, right here. And I like to reach that. I'm doing the right side. I'm reaching my right arm forward. And now you can really let the whole weight of the head kind of drop into that ball. You can also wind it up a little bit here. You can add that little bit of winding, like pin spin. You can add that here too if you want. That makes it more intense. Oh. I like to do this after my yoga class in the morning, and just once I'm on the balls, I don't want to leave. The trickier part is to get on the balls. One reason I'm teaching this class is so I'm doing it myself. And you can now, if you want to, you can, you know, do a gentle no movement. So you're looking up toward the ceiling, and then you rotate your head down. So you're looking to the side. And I don't know if you feel as much as I do, but this is always a tight area for me, especially on the right side. I'm right-handed, and often this is tighter for me on the right. So just kind of rolling your head from like about a 90-degree angle, from like looking up toward the top, and I'm laying on my side. And you might have to reset the ball so it doesn't run away. And then you can, wherever you feel like it's really tight, you can just stay there. So you don't have to move, just stay there and breathe. So this is sustained compression. And you can, if you have a really tender spot, you can stay there. Otherwise, move the ball toward the middle of the neck. These are exactly the same spots we did before. It's just a different way of accessing this. And, you know, I might even get the ball like really, I don't know if you can see this, squeezed in, and then moving my head so that the back of my head is now on the block and just staying there, and just have that ball kind of push into that neck area. Make sure you really relax that right arm. You don't hold any tension. Don't forget to breathe. And then of course you can do that same kind of motion, rotating your head. But for me, the middle of the neck is not the worst one. So I'm moving on to the kind of where the neck and the shoulder meet. So really get that ball. Like I have it almost more on the shoulder, and then reach that right arm a little bit forward. Oh, just kind of find a spot. So you shifting your body, maybe moving the ball a little bit more backward and then pushing the body against it. So really find a juicy spot where you can just, now once you have it, you can relax and let the weight of your head really do all the work. So you don't have to do anything. You just relax. And if you want, again, you can spin that ball a little bit, wind it up. So you're grabbing even more tissues. Yeah, I definitely have a tight spot right there. And breathing into the belly is creating the relaxation response. So really maybe put a hand on your belly even and just notice, imagine you're blowing up a balloon when you breathe. Oh, this feels so good. I don't know about you guys, I love this. Oh, it feels so much better. And now we have to do the other side. I'm gonna get off my mat a little bit so you guys can see me. Or maybe I need to just, let me see. It's always a negotiation here with the camera so that you can see what I'm doing. So again, you start somewhere behind the ear. Okay. And again, if you want, you can spin the ball a little bit. This is not necessary. It makes it more intense. Really make sure and reach that arm forward and then relax it. So completely relax. And I always recommend just starting before you move, just checking in. If it's already intense enough, you don't have to add movement. Movement adds more pressure, as does the spinning. And then maybe if you want, you can add some nodding, some saying no. No to this pain, resolve the pain, let all the tension float away. Yeah, for me, this is way less than it was on the other side. So I'm moving to the middle of the neck, giving it a little spin. And then I really like to rest the back of my head on the block so that you have that ball kind of squishing between the neck and the block. I highly recommend not reading your text messages while you do this. You know, sometimes when I'm really busy, I multitask and I do both. You know, but it's best to really connect with your breath. Maybe put one hand on your belly, really notice. Close your eyes. Life happens in this moment, not before, not after. Same with eyesight. Eyesight happens in the present moment. You can also add a little yes movement. So I really want you to kind of, instead of following like strict instructions, this is what you need to do, just really tune in where you get the most. Like maybe press a little bit more into the ball, maybe move your head a little bit. Just really notice where you get the most kind of, what do you call it? Like bang for the buck. So where you get the most. For me, this is like just pressing into the ball feels really good right now on different angles. And then last one is where the neck and the shoulder meet. That's really intense. And I like to press it so it really hits that. It's almost like a nerve there. There is probably a nerve where the shoulders, I'm almost more pressure on the shoulder right now than the neck. Can you see this? Yeah, okay. Just checking. And again, if you want to add a little spin motion, you can twist the ball a little. All right, isn't that so nice? Oh, let me look at the time. Okay, we have some time, good. So because I wanted to also work a little bit on the jaw. So for me, I don't know about you, but for me, the jaw, the masseter is the strongest muscle in the body. And I often hold tension here and in the solar plexus. So the jaw, if you have, these are pretty new balls. Over time, they will wear down. By the way, keep your balls out of light, out of UV light. They will break down. They're made of natural rubber. And eventually they will also get kind of shiny and greasy, so they don't last forever. I use mine every day and they last for about 6 months, and at some point I replace them. So I have a whole series of balls. Some are harder. They're great for the feet when they're brand new. And for the jaw, you know, you can use older or softer ones. So depending on how new your balls are, and by the way, you can wipe them down with soap and water, but they need a while to dry. So when they're wet, they're not grippy. So you want to, I usually use a disinfectant wipe, but I use my own balls, so I don't, you know, I don't really overly stress about this stuff. But I also teach in the gym, in the yoga class, and we use them, and so we always clean them after, especially in these times. So you basically put the ball anywhere on the jaw, right? It could be the top, the middle, the back. We will use all the different areas. So just place it somewhere, and you might already be like, okay, this is too much. This is really painful. I sometimes gets really intense. So you can do, if it's too much for you, you just do it seated, and you do that what we did earlier. You press it and then maybe spin it. So you can do that. I want to do the one on the block, but if you feel like this is too painful, and again, you can just check in. I feel something already. So you can stay here and not move or do anything else, or you can do a little bit of again, a little bit of a no. So you going against the grain of the masseter here. You can also say yes. And another thing that's really good with the jaw, it does not look pretty. I'm warning you, but nobody can see you. You open and close the jaw. So you're really getting that muscle. So when you mobilize the muscle, when you mobilize it while you press it, my chiropractor calls this pressure plus motion. That's when you get the most intensity. So in your breathing doesn't really matter, but I want you to breathe, but how you breathe is not really important. Do something that feels really good for you. So you open and close. Oh, wow, that was really intense for me. And do it slowly. So you don't like open and close, but really go all the way open. And slowly close it. So wherever it's the most painful, that's where you want to go slow in your movement. You can sigh it out. And then move the ball a little to the middle of the masseter. I always like to do a little bit of saying no. So you're going against the grain. Cross-fibering is more intense than going with the grain of a muscle. Just rolling, checking out the situation, maybe saying yes. And then find a spot that's juicy, and then open and close. Wow. I had no idea my left jaw was so tight. I know my right one was. And then kind of toward the bottom, toward the lower part of the jaw. Yeah, I don't feel much there. So, you know, if there's an area where you don't feel much, you don't have to spend any time on it. You're like, oh, awesome, I don't feel much. Congratulations. And then while we're on the side, let's do the temples. So the temples, you know, this is an area that can be really tender, especially if you tend to have headaches. You do the same. You can also, I forgot to say that on the jaw, but you can always spin that ball a little bit and just place it there. And then also say no, because you could feel like really tense right next to the eyebrow, and it could feel tense more toward over the ear. So always kind of explore, is there a space that feels tender? So for me today, it's like more toward the ear where the hair is. So you can't really spin it where you have hair. Just breathe into that space, wherever that is for you. Maybe there's nothing. If there's nothing, then change to the other side and do the jaw. If you have absolutely no intensity, I switch to the other side and do the jaw. I'm going to stay here for a moment, breathing into that tightness. And you can also, not so much over the ear, but if your temple are more sensitive right in the middle or near the eyebrow, just in the middle, you can also open and close your jaw. I don't feel it. You feel a little bit over the ear, but the temporalis is a really thick muscle, like think of a fan right here, and that's connected to the jaw. So you will, if you're right here, you open and close the jaw, you will feel that here too. All right, I'm moving on back to the first side, turning around. Back to side one, so temple here. I'm doing a little bit of a no motion. Yeah, interestingly enough, my right jaw was much tighter, but on the temples, it's more the left. But actually, here's a little bit of a spot right here. Yep, it actually hurts more than I first thought. Maybe spin a little bit. And this is an area where opening and closing the jaw, I will notice it. So if you have an area where you notice that you feel something, then add that opening and closing of your mouth. Think happy thoughts. And you might notice as you let that ball kind of sink into that tender, tight muscle that's contracted for some reason, for some, our brain was anxious, fearful, angry, whatever. And we tighten up these muscles, like just unconsciously. So as you let that ball sink in, just really with every breath, imagine that tension will melt away. Hmm. So what we're really doing, we're increasing blood flow to the muscles, to the tight tissues. Tissues that are tight, there's no blood flow. There's a constriction of oxygen, like the fascia, we talked about that yesterday. The fascia is that connective tissue that connects all the bones, all the muscles in the body. It's like the pith of an orange. It's that white stuff in an orange. And if that dries out or is stiff, right, the muscles cannot move. So when we talk about a lot of times, oh, my hamstrings or whatever muscle is tight, it's also the fascia, right? The connective tissues. So we really want to fluff that up, get collagen, get all these, the lymph, all that stuff moving in the body so that we have better blood flow, better, like maybe you feel like you're more glowing after this. So we're out of time. So tomorrow, if you have any requests, please put that in the Facebook group or, I'm posting some videos on YouTube, not everyone, but post that in the Facebook group, either See Clearly Without Glasses or Clear Vision Club, if you're in the Clear Vision Club. Post that in there, any requests you have. Otherwise, I was thinking of doing a little bit face tomorrow, like for the eyes, eyebrows, and under the eyes, a little bit of that. And then maybe doing more upper body, like shoulders. So there is a really good space, one of my favorite places to do the shoulders. You need a corner for. And I can do it I would have to move the computer. I can do it back over there. However, that I have moldings on all my door jambs. So I don't have like a plain, if you have like a space with a plain corner without moldings around it, because what you will be doing, you will be, you need, like imagine as a corner. So you press the ball against the corner, but then this is the wall, this is the corner. And the molding will always make the ball travel in weird ways. So I'm going to stop the recording. So I hope you enjoyed this class. Let me twist this a little. I hope you enjoyed this class and you feel better and more relaxed and have more, maybe check your neck rotation. For me, this is way more free. I don't feel any restriction anymore. So hope this was helpful. And I see you tomorrow.